Hey friends, welcome. If perhaps you've been here before, I would like to say welcome back. Today I'll be starting a series I called A Conversation with a Fellow Believer. And on this first episode, I'll be having a conversation with an amazing friend, someone I revere and respect so much. His name is Abel Nwankwo. He has been my friend since 2020 now, and it has been a very long journey with him. It was an amazing moment with him, and I believe it's someone full of wisdom, someone full of depth. And I would like that you enjoy the conversation with him. We had a conversation about mindset as a Christian and how it affects our life, how it's expected to shape our life, and I believe it's something you will enjoy. Stay tuned.
Okay.
All right, so today I said I wanted us to talk about mindset. One of the things that is driving me to make this conversation is the fact that, see, over time I believe that people have the wrong mindset, and that's actually has been one of the things that have been limiting them in terms of knowing possibilities, knowing what is obtainable. A lot of person does not even know what are the things they are capable of as humans. And over time, we begin to make excuses and we hide under them and we keep living a mediocre life and all of those things. So it's the reason why I really want us to talk about mindset. It's okay. So let me start by saying, if it's okay, congratulations on your graduations yesterday.
Thank you. Even though that's not the context of this conversation.
Yeah, no
Oh,
worries.
it's okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but then I actually wanted to start from there, and one of the things I was going to talk about that is there any obstacle you faced during your studies, and one, how do you navigate through them, and most likely what were the mindset and the frame of mind you positioned yourself into that helped you navigate that obstacle?
Okay. Thank you very much for having me on the program. I don't know what the name of the program is yet, but thank you for having me. Well, for any feat that one accomplishes in life, it's certain that there must have been challenges that the person overcame to accomplish such a feat. Whether it is an academic feat, whether it's a business accomplishment, whether it's spiritual heights or depths that one is able to scale or get into, whether it's family life success, whatever it is, the idea of accomplishing a thing is that you surmount certain obstacles, whether they are natural or spiritual, to accomplish such a thing. If there were no challenges or difficulties or hurdles on the path to success, then they would not be worth celebrating. If it was something that everybody could do by just wishing or desiring it, then everybody would have been able to operate at the same level of success, the same level of achievement, the same level of accomplishment. And that is not to say that not everybody has it in them to succeed at anything at any time. Everybody has it in them, and I think that's one of the reasons when you think of this thing I said now, it makes me appreciate the topic that we are going to be discussing, or that we are discussing, even more, because whereas everybody has it in them, if you would say as a seed, the ability, the capacity to excel at anything that they put their hearts to, many persons easily chicken out in the face of obstacles and difficulties. When the road does not seem smooth and is not looking straight forward, when there seem to be curves or bends, many persons easily turn their backs and say, this is not a journey I'm sure I will get to the end of. But life in its very self is not designed to be smooth and straightforward. Yes, life is a very serious adventure. Many times you don't really know. Maybe you can know by the help of the Spirit what lies ahead, but the path that will lead you to that which lies ahead, many of the times you do not really know. And in fact, many times God does not reveal the details of the paths he wants you to follow, as much as he reveals to you the picture of where he wants you to go.
Yeah.
So it is part of the ways God teaches us to walk in faith, to follow him every step of the way, and to learn to overcome the challenges that come our way as the basis upon which our faith is built, the basis upon which our confidence in him is built, the basis upon which our understanding of life is built. If you have not known what it means to overcome, you will stand before your greatest victories with a mindset of an impostor. You will stand before your greatest accomplishments, even the accomplishments you had by the grace of God. Of course, if you have grace, it means that it was grace that helped you overcome certain things. But the point I'm making is, many persons would not feel that they deserve to be in certain places of success or heights, or to be in certain spaces or certain spheres, even when they find themselves there, and it equally limits the way they're able to function there, because they feel they were not qualified for this. Whereas, even though you may not have been qualified for it, in our Christian understanding of being conscious of the grace and the mercy of God being at the heart of our achievements at the end of the day, yet you must be able to beat your chest and say, look, it was grace that brought me here. But you see, that grace actually led me through the valleys of the shadows of death. And it was only by grace that the death did not overcome me and I triumphed by life. But you see, I went through things to come here. There's a confidence it gives you to stand in front of your successes and to not just defend it, but to, in the moment of it, know that, look, I paid the price to get here, even though by the grace of God. So I experienced my own challenges. Of course, coming to a new culture, a new environment was not easy. Many circumstances around my travel were not as easy as I expected. I will not be able to go into the details of it, but one thing I can say is that the past year has served to teach me a lot of things that perhaps if things didn't go a certain way, I may not have really learned. So yes, I'm grateful that I experienced the challenges I experienced. Mine were not academic, at least by the mercy of God. They were not like academic challenges or what have you. They were not even financial per se, but in the ways that I had my own difficulties and difficult moments or difficult experiences. I am grateful that I went through them, because if you are talking about just the past 1 year, it's not just been about the MSc program. It's been about a lot of experiences coming together that have really defined the past 1 year for me, and I thank God for them all. I have learned now that if we understand the value of challenges, trials, as undesirable as they may be, if we can learn to discern the value that is in them, while we do not pray to always be in moments of trial, if we happen to find ourselves in such moments, whether they are crisis moments, moments of seasons of hardship, the dark alleys of life, however you want to describe it, when we learn to discern the value of them, it helps us to make the most of them, because men are not made in the days of laughter and merriment and celebration. Men are not, in fact, there's this famous quote that strong men create good times. I hope I'm able to remember it correctly. And then good times create weak men. And then weak men create bad times. And then bad times create strong men. There's this cycle around. So it takes adversity sometimes, of whatever kind. People go through a lot of things in life, but regardless of what it is, if you learn how to discern the value of it, you will not waste it. And also, you will help God not to waste it, because it now becomes a very good opportunity for Him to make something special, something strong, something that can stand the test of time out of your life. So I think I'll just leave it at that.
Well, that's actually a very beautiful one. Now, you mentioned something when you were talking. You talked about having a sense of imposter syndrome. I know there are occasions where while you're on a journey, you are in pursuit of a certain thing, and then maybe it's beginning to look difficult. You are beginning to get obstacles and things that are not making it looking likely that very thing you're pursuing is possible.
Yeah.
And then you begin to ask yourself, probably this is not what I'm supposed to do. Probably this is not even my calling. Probably this is not even my person. But then, most probably before you started out, you are fired up. You know that this is what I want, and then maybe in face of problem, you begin to question yourself, you begin to question your personality. How would you advise someone who is in that very moment? How would you explain to someone who is suffering from such syndrome to help them overcome?
Okay, the impostor syndrome comes to people in different ways and for different reasons. There are people that, because of the process that led them to where they are, maybe they chanced upon a certain opportunity or privilege, and then they happen to find themselves in certain places or positions or responsibilities or organizations or what have you, and they suddenly realize that they do not have the competence. And when I want to say qualification, what I actually mean is competence.
Like someone who won the lottery.
Yeah, maybe that. Maybe somebody that, let's say, gains an admission now. Let me use the educational setting, for instance. And maybe as God helps me to have any other good examples that
or
can
probably
use.
Someone who inherits a managerial position.
Yes. Well, there are people that don't have an impostor syndrome because they feel entitled. Let's say you inherit an estate from your father. You happen to now become the manager or the managing director or CEO of a very large company or business empire, and you never really worked for it. Even though you never really worked for it, and perhaps you may not even have been qualified to step into the shoes of your father, for instance, but because of the sentiment of your being his son or daughter, they give you the position. Such a person may not necessarily feel like an imposter because they would feel entitled. It is my right. This is my inheritance. It is only natural that by consequence of my being a child of this man or that woman, this position eventually comes to me. They will not feel like they are not meant to be there, notwithstanding that they might or might not be qualified for the position. So I'm really trying to get very good examples that I could use, but okay, let me start from the educational setting. Like I said, maybe one happens to find himself in a certain educational institution, and I see this happen a lot with people that school in this part of the world, coming from Africa, African countries generally. I think many of the schools now are becoming quite populated with a good percentage of black students, but it's not the case everywhere. The school where I studied, in the entire faculty, we were just two of us that were blacks. And the two of us happened to be Nigerians. The two of us happened to be on a scholarship. The rest were whites of different backgrounds, and then Asians. I remember
how Chinese were being called.
Yes. And there may be a natural tendency to feel like you don't belong in this kind of place because the skin color that you came with is different, and not just that it's different. You are such an overwhelming minority.
Yeah, exactly.
And I somehow never had that challenge because I like to say that I don't see myself as a black man, just like I would not want to see myself as a white man or a red man or any other color for that matter. My sense of identity and personhood derives from something higher than where I come from, geographically or culturally. Variations of color, language differences. Those things don't. In fact, I remember then when we would be in discussion and seminar classes, and many times I would be the only one. I think my other Nigerian colleague, we never took any classes together, to the best of my knowledge. We never took any lectures together. So I would usually be the only black fellow in the class. Sorry, the only person of a different color. Because like I said, I don't like calling myself a black man. That is not denying my African or black origin or heritage or whatever, but that is saying you don't identify me primarily as that. So many times we would be having classes, discussions, and I knew somehow I never had that. I was not under that pressure to try to speak like these people, I know I speak good English. I know I write very well. But there wasn't that pressure to sound like them when I spoke, because maybe I needed to make them feel that I knew their language enough, or that
You can speak their accent.
or I can speak their accent. Yeah, accent is the word. So when we would be talking, and of course I don't talk as fast as they talk. So whenever it was my turn to make contributions, I would be calm. I'll talk calmly the way I know I communicate, very relaxed. And they may talk at a fast pace, they may talk with their accent, but whenever I spoke, they noticed I wasn't trying to sound like them. I took my time, I talked calmly, and they learned to listen to me at my pace of speech. And of course, they wouldn't deny that they understand my accent well enough. In fact, there are various accents of the English language, for example, here in England or here in the UK. In Scotland alone, there are, I don't know how many accents there are of the English language, that even an Englishman, that is a man from England, would struggle to understand.
From
Scotland, yeah. So if they have such difficulties, why would I want to put myself under the pressure of wanting? So who exactly will I be wanting to sound like? Is it a Scot? Is it an Englishman? Is it an American? Is it an Australian or a Canadian? Because
if you try out to speak to the Scots,
yeah,
when you come to England, he's
useless.
Exactly.
And the two of them, the two countries, they don't even like each other because of the differences in accent and cultural variations as well. So, and many other things. There were many things they considered maybe things you needed to do to blend in with the culture of the place. Well, some were reasonable. You know, the extent you can try to make them know that, okay, you are not against them. But I was never under any pressure to do anything, even at my place of work now, just because I want to ingratiate myself with people, to make them see me as a likable person. We are doing something at the office currently, and out of the two options of the things to do, I picked one. I said, I'm going to do this, but I will not do this. I don't have my principals do not agree with this. And even though the rest of them are doing it, and it looks like, oh, good office culture, I don't agree with it, and I'm not going to do it. The one I'm going to do, I will do it, and I'll do it very well. So, whether in a workplace, okay, I just moved to the work setting now, for example, where I work, we are equally a very small minority, or a small population of not just blacks but Africans that are working there. Now, in that place, because of the fact that, of course, we are all being trained, we are learning the job at the moment, but whenever we had materials to maybe go through, either to read or to watch or whatever, I was never under any pressure to tell the trainer that I had finished with any course when I had not finished it, or just rush through it so that I can keep up to pace with the others that were able to read much faster, or maybe that could casually skip through, because some of them casually will just skip through many of the material, and maybe they have prior knowledge of it. I'm new here. I don't know their legal system as well as they've known it. I don't understand the business culture as much as they know it. So there may be things that, by reason of information here and there that they've picked up from childhood, even, they can just see and then, oh, this is what they're saying, and they skip over it. So if the course is supposed to take 1 hour and somebody is finishing in 30 minutes, I'm not under any pressure to say I want to finish that quickly, because at the end of the day, what is important is that I am able to do my job well and in good detail. Every one of us went through the interview process, and we were hired on the basis of our skill and competence and knowledge and qualifications. So they didn't care that I came from Africa, or that I schooled in Africa, or that I have an African accent. And that even goes, they just knew, okay, you can do this job, we will train you as we'll train every other person. So why put yourself under the pressure to feel, not just to feel among, to make them see you as the kind of person that blends into the way they do things, in terms of how fast maybe they are in reading, in terms of how much they already understand the terrain and all of that. You can simply say, look, I need more time than these persons, and they are patient enough when you are, even if you're not that bold. Many times people just put themselves under unnecessary pressure. There is a time and location. They're supposed to follow you at your pace. There is a good plan for your development in the job and all of that. But many times people put themselves under the pressure of wanting to just create a sense, which at the end of the day makes them see you as a not so confident person, a fake person, and all of that. So, and it just harks back to the fact that they feel like they don't really belong here, which is an impostor syndrome. Even though they are eminently qualified, many times even more qualified than the persons they've met on the job in terms of whether certifications, maybe experience or skill, or the level of creativity or ingenuity that they bring to the table. Many times they are more qualified, but because they feel, oh, maybe I'm not really meant to be here, or maybe because I'm in the minority, they rather than bringing out the originality that they bear, which will eventually add color and value to the organization, they rather want to be like the others, and they just get swallowed up in the crowd, and they just keep following in the shadow, and they never really rise.
They most likely want to be like what they perceive is superior.
Is superior, yes.
I get that. That's very beautiful. Like really, like because for me as a person, I know I had a fair chance, like a fair share of all of these struggles. Having to you have that definition of what the person that is supposed to be in a certain setting is supposed to look like, and of course, now the question I want to ask in that regard, or the follow-up question is he does it not make it bad to have like a standard you want to fit into? Now I don't know, of course it can be that you are duplicating the standard from someone. Say, okay, I like the way you talk, I like the way you dress, I just want to in quote model my life like you, like a role model. So how do we put that balance to it, talking about conforming yourself to what you perceive is a superior personal, and trying to have a role model? Hey friends, you can tell that the conversation did not end there. There is more to it, and it went deeper. I would like that you like and share the video to help others. You should also subscribe and turn on notification so that you will know when I upload the rest of the conversation. I pray that the Lord bless you and make your faith stronger. I pray that He make you such a believer that brings joy to His heart. I'll see you later.